Okay, everybody, I am so excited today because I am joined by Cara Buono, aka Gail Carter, in The Girl from Plainville, which is out tomorrow on Hulu. Cara, how you doing today?
Great. How are you doing? Nice to meet you. I like your tats.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. No, Cara, I'm so excited about this project you're in, and it's interesting to prep for this interview. I watched the HBO doc on the story of Michelle Carter,
Yeah.
and what I noticed though is that you're playing Gail Carter, so I
Mhm.
feel like that's almost the most challenging part to take on because I feel like there's less info on her. How did you approach your portrayal of Gail in that sense?
Well, I really appreciate you phrasing the question that way because that was one of the things that we talked about that Gail Carter never gave an interview. There's really no information on her. All we've seen are some pictures of her in the courtroom. She really avoided the spotlight. So, in that regard, we created our fictionalized idea of Michelle's mom. And we, tried to give her certain limitations that we thought that she might have because we're trying to see how perhaps Michelle was in the situation that she's in. Maybe what was that relationship like with her mom? So we tried to sort of piece those two pieces together.
Right. So that makes sense. And when you're talking about Michelle, like, was there anything, did you and Elle Fanning have to like get on this like same page of like, okay, how are we going to portray this relationship to kind of make it
Mhm.
something that would seem realistic? How did you guys kind of even approach that?
Well, she's just remarkable in how she just prepared and transformed for Michelle, and I think that um, you know I just kind of approached it from the point of view as, who is she as this mother to, when we look at the story in terms of the tragedy of it, right? And there's nothing worse than losing a child. And then from my point of view as a mother, sort of when you discover this terrifying reality that your daughter might be complicit in a murder over text, you don't even know who this person is. You start to think, what did I do? Who is this person? Who is my daughter? How did this happen? And there's a lot of self-blame. But then at the same time, trying to figure out, is this person someone who has limitations as a mother? Clearly, she tried to get her daughter some help.
Mm,
But in the relationship between Michelle and me, I always felt like we decided that they were unable to ever really make a connection
mm.
despite really wanting to, really wanting to have those heart to heart conversations, really wanting to connect, and that there was
Yeah.
this crack that they fell through.
Sure. And that's a really good answer. And that makes me wonder too, when you're thinking about how you're approaching Michelle here and that relationship to you as
Mm-hmm.
an actress as Cara, knowing that this case
Mm-hmm.
is so controversial and that everybody has
Yeah.
such strong opinions about it. And it's a
Yeah.
very gray case, in my opinion. So how do you keep like, are you separating Cara's belief about the case when you're putting it
Mm-hmm.
to Michelle, or is there some kind of blend in there, maybe even subconsciously?
It, it's interesting. I think like most people who will tune into the show as an audience member or anyone who's aware of the case, I think most people will come with a preconceived idea or judgment of what happened and who's responsible and everything. And I think what drew me to the project and what I think they do is done very well is this exploration of the peeling back of the layers of each of the characters, the situation they found themselves in, the role that technology played and social media played, and really trying to find the humanity in everybody and the tragedy that it is for everyone involved. And then further, exploring also this was several years ago, and we have more information about the dangers of social media and technology, particularly on teenage girls in this country. I mean, I'm sure we all have personal anecdotes, but there's studies out there about it, and it really sheds light on this topic that we really have to start talking more about.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's cool too. It's like it's gonna be exciting for people who are big fans of you to see you play a role like this that's based off a real person, and you do
Yeah.
absolutely amazing job. Now, I have to ask too, what I was excited to talk to you about because I love that you're from the Bronx, born in the Bronx,
Yeah.
and I'm not, it's not as exciting that I'm from White Plains, but not far
Yeah.
away. So
That's
is
close
there any
by.
it's close, so it's not as cool, but is there anything growing up in the Bronx that you kind of took into your acting career? Like, is there a swag that comes with that? What comes with that?
Oh, that's such a cool question. Well, I think that, growing up in the Bronx, well, my dad was a mechanic, and I always had a job since I was like 11 years old. So I always worked. So I think, in a working class neighborhood, you get a very good work ethic. You don't really complain. You just kind of do what you got to do. And kind of, it's pretty diverse. So you grow up with a lot of different kinds of people. So the world's sort of at your doorstep in that regard. And, get rid of my Bronx accent, but I pull it out when I need it.
Hell yeah, I love that. So also it's what's surreal talking to you is that I'm currently watching Mad Men for the first time as we speak. I am on
Yeah.
season 4, so I'm really looking you right now as Faye Miller. So is that role, do you hold that the dearest to you because it was one that you were, nominated for an Emmy? It was at such a time when that show was like at its peak. Do you kind
Yes.
of keep that in a special place?
Yes, I loved playing Dr. Faye Miller. It was one of my all-time favorite roles. I was a huge fan of the show. When I got the job, I was beyond. I remember pulling my car over on the side of this canyon I was going up when I got the offer and just jumping out and being so excited. And it was interesting, when I think back to that show, it was just before, there was there was Twitter and stuff, but I think that it was really before social media when everyone was kind of tweeting about or talking about shows as they were happening. But I worked with Matt Weiner on Sopranos, so I feel like I love every job I've done, but I really had a special place in my heart for that era and who she was, and she was kind of ahead of her time.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of just your storied career, now I feel like Karen Wheeler, you're like, this is your rock star role. It made you a rock star, which is awesome. So
Thank you.
I have to ask this so my fans don't kill me, but if you can give one adjective for Stranger Things season 4, just one, what would you say?
One adjective. Wow. Let's see. They didn't prepare me for this, but I would say darker.
Okay. I love it. And everyone, if you love her for all her roles she's on Cara, check her out tomorrow on The Girl from Plainville. It's on Hulu. It's an awesome story, and I'm excited for people to see you just crush it here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to talk again in the future.
Likewise. Thank you.
Thank you.